Louisiana Beer Reviews Special Edition Samuel Adams Boston Lager Revisited. Okay, this is a nationally famous, if not world famous, beer brand introduced in 1984, really rolled out across the country, or to a large extent across the country, in 1985 by a Boston beer company, Jim Koch. And he does his typical thing, talking about old family recipe in my kitchen, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Samuel Adams, you know, with Paul Revere on the label. It's something that bothers people. Certified kosher, in case you need to know that. Best before March 2016. It's got the date, guys, and that's convenient, right? It's like, how hard is it to put a date, Best By or Born on a can or bottle? I don't think it's difficult. So, Beer Advocate rate beer. Some people on there are going to say it's great, it's a good beer, it's solid, been drinking it for 30 years. Other people are going to say it ain't nothing, it's nothing, it's mass-produced junk. Some people I know really like it. Other people I know, like friends on Facebook, Maria Devon, Michelle Steinberg, they don't like it. For whatever reason, they just don't like it. So, I've always liked it. When I first started drinking beer in February 1996, this was one of the ones I tried, and I remember some guy, Calm is his last name, and Ron Calm, he was saying, they were drinking Dixie beer at a crawfish ball, and he was saying, "Oh, I hate Samuel Adams Boston Lager. That stuff's horrible." And I was, at the crawfish ball eating, and I said, he must not be used to the flavor, or he's not giving it a fair shake, something like that. I remember thinking something like that. And Ron Calm, you said you were going to do a video review with me, and I think you're full of it. He's always saying that. Call me up when we're going to do it. I think that's sort of one of his games he plays. Okay, thick, kind of it's like foam on a mattress. Not like those foam cushions. Not a bed mattress, but the foam cushion, foam, white, not the most ideal looking head. It's kind of a burnished gold with a slight orange or copper tinge, I guess, to it. You can see the bubbles. They're not racing to the top, but they're making their way up there. A lot of sediment in this glass, and it's not a dirty glass. Dusty looking sediment, not unusual for lagers. It's bready. Now I did a review of this in 2011. Then later I did the can version. No difference there, and it's ironic because Jim Koch said, "I'll never do a can version. Cans make the beer taste tinny." But he didn't know what he was talking about really in 1985, and then he had to backtrack a few years ago, and say, "Oh yeah, cans, they're okay." So, and then I did an examination with my friends there, internet associates, whatever you want to call it. But I noticed I hadn't done a formal revisit. It's bread crust, barley malt, some yeastiness, not what you would say hoppy or hop oil or any of those types of attributes. It almost has that city brewing, La Crosse, Wisconsin, kind of funny yeastiness. Let's see. They've altered the label over the years with this beer. This looks like they're going back to the older style label. on this one. I'm trying to see if they say where this one was brewed. Cincinnati and Bringsville, Pennsylvania. And they have their little showcase boutique brewery, the Boston Brewing Company experience type thing in Boston. I know some of their beers have been contract brewed with La Crosse, with Wisconsin City Brewing. Some of the bottles and cans have said that in the past. I don't know about it anymore. I did drive right by that Bringsville brewery earlier this year, and I saw it from the interstate. I said, a brewery, and I got off, and then it said Boston, Samuel Adams Boston Lager. I said, oh, that's it. So I said, oh, let me go in this line, and then I realized it's the truck delivery line, all these 18-wheelers. So I said, this is not correct, and I got out of the line, and then I said, I have to go around and find the entrance. And I wanted to get to New York City anyway. It was already, the day was getting on, so I just left. But it was interesting just to look at it. Kind of a medium-sized brewery there, not a huge complex like Houston, Texas, for instance, with Anheuser-Busch, but it's pretty big. Anyway, kind of a candy type thing, which I don't know why, but they do have that with this Boston lager. They don't claim it's a Vienna lager, but and they're using that 2-row pale malt. If you look on their website, they give all the ingredients list. It's very good. Their website used to be better because they would give the ingredients list and they would always have this beer was introduced and they give the year. Now I don't see that anymore. The flavor is close to the aroma. Same things already described. There's almost, you would think, a corn background, but I know that was their big selling point back in '85. We don't use corn or rice adjuncts. He was attacking Heineken for that. They use corn. Now you see why people hate Heineken. And back in '85, a lot of people were saying, "No, nobody hates Heineken. What are you talking about?" But this is a review of the beer, not an examination of the Jim Koch approach, which is highly controversial and has been for 30 years. But not having a horse in the race, I don't really care either way, personally. The hoppiness is there. The IBUs are pretty good on this. Okay, so that's probably 19 years ago why he was saying, oh, that beer's bad. He just wasn't used to the bitterness. And it's a pretty hefty bitterness here. I drank some IPAs that'll have this high IBU touting, and then you're wondering, where's the bitterness that they keep warning you about? This beer doesn't warn you about it, and it's got it. It does have that, yeah, it's like a cornbread background, and I don't know why. That can't be. I know Moosehead had an article, they have an article on their website about why they use corn and rice adjuncts, and they were saying that if you're picking up a corn flavor, that it's not coming from the corn, it's actually coming from the malts, the barley malts not being processed correctly or something like that within the brewing process. You look on their I think it's called Beer School or whatever, brewing school on the Moosehead website, and they'll explain that. It could be that here, but I can't say this is something new. It's kind of always been there. I've wondered in the past, does Boston Brewing add food coloring to give it that brown appearance, like I suspect that is done with Yuengling traditional lager? They don't really comment either way about this. on their website. They don't make any claim to have no additives or preservatives, though. I noticed that. They don't say that definitively anywhere. So they might add a little food coloring, no caramel color. But I never did have enough like drive to ask them. Yes, so it has a medium body and nice lacing, and the finish is pretty crisp. It's refreshing. It's easygoing. I think the price is usually pretty good. $7.99 a 6-pack. Sometimes you might even get it cheaper if there's a sale they're running. For a craft style mass-produced beer, it's really good. I don't think it deserves the criticism it gets. I think people unfairly rip on the line, the Boston Brewing Company line. Most of this stuff is not like world class, the greatest thing, but it's really good, and it's probably a step above your Shiner, your Boulder, your New Belgium, Abita. Maybe it is. I could be wrong, but it's in that mix, of the, or your what was I gonna say? Your Red Hook. It's kind of like in that area, your Red Hook, Full Sail, Magic Hat type area. It's not deep speculative. It's not mass produced. It's kind of in between there. It'll get you in trouble with the beer snobs, and then maybe the regular beer drinkers will hate it, but it could be a gateway towards something deeper if you really want to get deeper, right? So I'll say A-. It's at the lower end of excellent, but it's still well done, and I don't take any issue with it. So Laissez-les, Bon Temps Roulé, an excellent to an extent beer, and I'm going to end this review, this revisit, can't stop burping out, this revisit by saying y'all come on down to New Orleans.